Hi, everyone. Welcome to the day 2 of the Nurture Cure retreat, virtual retreat. I'm so excited for all of you who are tuned in and listening. Um, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited. So, the focus of today is holistic approaches to heart health. And traditionally, when you go to your provider in a clinical setting, heart health centers on lifestyle modifications, of course, healthy diet, low in saturated fats, high in fiber, omega 3s, cardiovascular activity, such as walking, running, swimming. And it traditionally has not included social emotional well-being and attention to that. So my goal is to show you guys how you can incorporate social emotional well-being into your heart healthy routine, because it's a very important part of heart health and overall health. If your heart's not well, you know, you feel pretty bad and life is, feels a bit sucky. So, we're learning more about just how much um, emotions, thoughts do affect the heart. Energetically speaking, the heart has um, its own electromagnetic field. So a lot of research is slowly, discovering just how much, the heart has a neural circuitry like the brain. It has gray matter and white matter like the brain. And so a lot of researchers are just discovering how much communication comes from our heart to our brain. Signals from our heart to our brain outnumber, like, by a lot, the amount of signals from our brain to our heart, which means that the communication, number one, is two-way, and we kind of knew that, but our heart is in tune to something. I believe social emotional cues and well-being and signals to our brain to take action or to protect ourselves or for our brain to do something rational or analytical. So as research grows in this particular area, it is definitely going to pay to you know invest in some sort of heart health ritual for yourself. And even if the research doesn't catch up, in our lifetimes, experientially, you can feel the transformational benefits of connecting with your heart. Everybody knows what it feels like, to love somebody, how much it changes your whole life, how it lifts your spirits, how it makes your heart skip beats. These metaphors come from somewhere. A broken heart, we know about. We've all heard the stories about a husband and wife been married for 50 years, and then one dies, and then the other dies shortly after because they died of a broken heart. So there's definitely some connection between our social and emotional health and the physical functioning and health of our heart. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story. So last night I was chatting with my sister, and it was a pretty long conversation. And for any of you guys who are parents out there, once you put the kids to bed, it's like, oh, finally, me time, or me and hubby time, or, no kid time. And so I had put the kids down, and my husband is expecting me to like be with him and hang out, watch a show or something like that. But I got caught up talking to my sister, having a good time at it. But him not communicating to me specifically, like, hey, I was really wanting to, hang out or whatever, it created some tension once I finally got off the phone with her. And it was pretty much time to go to bed. So I didn't have that one-on-one time with him. And he was very upset. And what's interesting about this particular dynamic is that usually when he is upset, he kind of shuts down and ices me out. And me being a pretty empathetic person and kind of picking up on feelings and stuff like that, I usually pick up when, he's not in his good space. So rather than just kind of letting him fester, I decided, to be proactive and ask him, hey, you seem upset. Because in me, I'm like, I feel fine. Like my heart feels good. I had fun with my sister. My husband seems like he's upset, but that really is a him thing and not a me thing. But I do love him. And so I'm going to give him an opportunity to share if he wants to share. But if he doesn't want to share and he wants to say close off, like that's okay too. These are the types of things that I was saying in my head before I even asked the question. So I asked him and he's like, I was really expecting to do this and this and this. And, I just felt abandoned and just kind of like forgotten about and and I feel like I don't even want to be around you right now type of thing. And I'm just like listening and, objectively trying to just hear him out without jumping to a conclusion in my own head about, how I feel about what he's saying. I'm taking slow breaths, to myself, just listening, and letting the information come through me without jumping to conclusions and analyzing it. And so as he's talking, I really didn't have anything to say afterwards that I felt like was gonna, be beneficial. So in the pregnant pause, I call it, where it's just quiet, I'm just taking deep breaths, not even deep, just conscientious breaths. And I'm imagining my heart center just being like my foundation and rooted. And so I'm just breathing in the silence, connecting with my heart. And with every exhale, I'm like just focusing on gratitude, like literally just like grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful for him sitting beside me, laying beside me in our home. Grateful that our kids are tucked in safely and quietly and comfortably upstairs. Just focusing not so much on all of those thoughts, but a thought will come and then amplifying the feeling of gratitude that came with each one of those thoughts. And so I was just doing the exercises during that pregnant pause. And I still didn't know what to say. And then after a while I'm doing my meditation to myself, he's like, I don't even know what to say right now. And I'm just like, I know. In my head, I'm like, I know, me either. Just gonna sit over here and meditate, and just be grateful and have gratitude, open the door for any other meaningful solutions that we may need to talk about. And so after a while, I was like, you know what? I know this, and I'm telling you, I think once you open yourself up to just the gratitude, the energy of gratitude, you'll get inspired and you'll get you kind of like inspired thoughts of what to say in certain situations, almost like guidance. And so I was just like, I totally understand, your perceptions and your feelings right now. I know what it's like to feel disconnected from you. I do. And I also know what it feels like to, in spite of having hurt feelings, in spite of, feeling let down, choosing to connect with you anyway, whether it be in an emotional way or even in a physical way, when I'm not in the mood, but still, because of whatever emotional things came up, but still deciding, you know what, I can choose to, be physical with you and have, sexual relations or what have you. So I shared that with him, not really knowing where it was going to lead. I just felt like that was the appropriate thing to say at that time. Like I said, it was not any kind of logical thinking on, I should say this, and maybe this will, this will happen. But I said it. And, after like another pause for a minute or two, we have lots of pauses when we talk. After a minute or two, he was like, man, I really appreciate you sharing that with me, because that sucks. And I was just like, yeah, it sucks, And he's like, but you know what? It's inspiring to know that like I can choose to like either let my feelings fester and hold on to this stuff and, have it pull me away from you, or I can choose to just have the feelings be there and still choose to move towards you. And I was just like, that's the most beautiful thing you've ever said. So that was just my short story of how connecting with your heart is healthy, is restorative, it's transformational, and it has physical benefits. It strengthens the physical attributes of your heart, clearing out those emotions, not having them stagnant. Like it increases your circulation. You have hormones and different chemicals within your body that come on board to help with blood flow and ease when you connect emotionally. So, one of the main kind of frameworks I like to present when we're talking about holistic healing and using meditative techniques to facilitate a healing environment in your body is this idea of rest and digest. So a lot of times we are in this fight, flight, freeze mode that comes from stress. And, unfortunately in our way of living in this pandemical times, stress is a major factor in our daily lives, and learning how to manage our emotions around all this different stuff that's happening in our lives is of utmost importance to our physical health. And so the more we're able to like consciously turn off that fight or flight stress response, which has emotional effects, mental effects, ill health and disease prone environment when you're in that constant stress, the more we're able to turn that off into the rest and digest state, if that facilitates healing and restoring and digestion, all of that, which, our body needs that time and that the opportunity to repair. And if it doesn't, that's when you see, ill health and disease crop up, and you see, depression, anxiety, just, our minds and our brains not functioning in an optimal way. So one of the techniques I wanted to share with you today is the stop method. So stop is an excellent way to connect to your heart in just your everyday situations and circumstances. I am all about techniques that don't take a lot of extra time, that don't take a lot of equipment and, just a lot of props and things. I'm all about like using what you have, your body, your mind, your voice, to point you back to wholeness. And so the stop technique is an excellent way in the middle of your day, in the middle of stressful pressure situations. You can use this to connect to your heart and turn on that rest and digest mode that will help you think more clearly, breathe with more ease, bring your heart rate down, get those cortisol and all those stress hormones regulated to down regulate. This technique will do that when practiced regularly. Now, it's a new thing. So give yourself some time to, get in a habit of it. Maybe you write yourself a note on a sticky pad, stop on your desk. Maybe you put it on your phone face for a week. So that this is available to you as a way to facilitate your healing. And so stop. The acronym STOP. So S is for literally stop. So oftentimes I feel like we don't give ourselves time to process stuff. So you feel a trigger, you feel stressed, you feel overwhelmed, give yourself permission to stop. Just because you give yourself a beat doesn't mean like the whole world's going to fall apart. Even if you got pressure from outside people making you think, oh, you got to do this right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. Like, no, I don't. Especially when it's like your ill planning has now created an emergency stress situation in my life, especially in those situations. Stop. No. So S is for stop. Literally sitting, not acting, letting your mind can do whatever, this is not about controlling thoughts. This is about taking actions and bringing your attention and awareness to other parts. And eventually the mind does follow. T, take a breath and sync your heart. So this is the actual exercise of using square breathing, which has been used in tons of ancient traditions. I know in the yogic traditions, it's pranayama, which is like the life force within the breath. But lots of different Western scientists have done studies on breathing techniques as a way to lower blood pressure, diffuse situations, gain mental clarity, sleep better, so on and so forth. The studies are out there. So connecting with your breath, but then an added piece is connecting with your heart. So square breathing is basically making your breaths even, the in breath even with the out breath. Okay. So I would just it doesn't have to be extra deep, but just even. And as you're breathing, I want you to bring your attention to your heart center. So your heart center energetically it's right here. Now, anatomically, your heart may be located more on the left side of your chest, but energetically, it's more in the center right here. So as you're taking your breaths, I want you to bring your attention to your heart center. Sometimes it helps to imagine it being like maybe a light, a glow. For me, I love to imagine like a green sort of light, it kind of corresponds with the color within the heart chakra. So I usually kind of imagine like a greenish yellow light here. And with each breath, I'm just focusing in on that, focusing on my heart, And then maybe after 1 minute, I add on to it gratitude. Gratitude is like the gateway energy of consciousness that really it elevates kind of like some negative thought patterns. It elevates it to a higher level of consciousness, because once you have gratitude, you kind of have acceptance of what is. There's not a lot of tension and resistance to whatever is going on in your life, because you're like, okay, yeah, that is what it is, but I'm like super grateful, like for my heart right now, like keeping me alive. I'm super grateful for the ability to just be here, sitting, breathing, and then just bringing gratitude to whatever you want that comes to your mind that you're grateful for. And if gratitude is not there, then you just go back to your heart and just bask in the fact that it's sitting here beating, keeping you alive. Like that is totally enough. Sometimes it's kind of hard to reach for like I'm grateful for, my family and da, da, da. Especially when you're like really stressed out. It's like the negative thought patterns are just too thick and too heavy. But if you can just come up to a level of like my heart, I'm grateful for the breath. I'm grateful, if you can at least come there, that creates a synchronicity in your head brain and your heart brain. It creates wavelengths that helps kind of bring down the temperature of whatever situation you're in. So that's the T. Take a breath and sync your heart. And you'll notice like it impacts not just you, it's almost like those vibrations of a synchronous heart kind of have ripple effects to whoever might be, around you in your field. I felt like that's what happened last night with my husband. Like my breathing and connecting with my heart and focusing on gratitude, like had ripples effect on the situation. And even though he was like sitting next to me over there, I felt like it had an impact on him and helped him have a clarity and an aha moment and just feeling maybe accepted and feeling, I don't know what the feelings were. All I know is I was focused on, my connections, and it just had a ripple effect. So T, take a breath, sync your heart. O, observe. So here we kind of start to, switch over to your thought patterns, which may right now be all over the place. You may still be peeved. I guess it just depends on how long you are taking your breath and syncing your heart, how long you're taking a beat. If you don't have a lot of time, maybe just did for a minute or two, this observe part may be a little bit more triggering versus somebody who, did the T step for 5 minutes, where the observe part, their thoughts have calmed down a bit. But basically, observe your thoughts, observe what's going on, take an objective view of everything that's happening. Try not to take things personally, like you're almost taking an objective stance. So observe your thoughts. See, they're very turbulent. These thoughts are racing. They want to do this and this. Look at them go. Just observe. You don't have to do anything with them. Just observe. And then P, because the process of bringing your awareness to it in itself turns down temperatures and creates space. So just observing them, they may be like thought, but just observing them, they create space in between the thoughts. So it might be thought. And so that attention and awareness creates space, and you'll start to feel more spacious in your thought processes, in your emotions, in your body. You'll feel your heart rate turning down and becoming more synchronous, and not just kind of in that fight flight stressed mode. And then P is proceed with conscious actions or no. So in the after you've done all that and you're in the process of doing that, sometimes there is nothing else to do. Like you have connected with your heart, you have brought gratitude, to the situation or to yourself, and you see your thoughts. And once you're in that space, you may have the clarity to just be like, what, it's nothing else for me to do right now. I'm just going to be about my business and let it roll. Sometimes in that P proceeding, you proceed into a conscious decision, a conscious action, which means I'm not led by like the survive mode, and then you act impulsively out of that mode. You are now acting consciously out of a rest, digest space. And I think we all can agree that when you make decisions out of that mode, they are oftentimes way more effective, way more in line with your values and what you really want to do. Way more productive when you make choices and decisions and actions out of that space versus that fight, flight, freeze, survival, stressed mode. So that was so that's stop. I'm going to go over them again. S, just stop, really. Just stop. Take several seats. T, take a breath and sink your heart. O, observe. Just observe. Take that objective observer stance. And then P, proceed with conscious action, or stay put and stay still. So that's just a quick overview of that technique. I am a fan of it. It is super important to incorporate this type of technique in keeping your heart healthy and well, in addition to regular cardiovascular exercise. I feel like oftentimes we don't highlight just how important it is to get some cardiovascular exercise, because that conditioning teaches your heart, like, okay, when these stress things come up, I don't have to like jump to 130, because this is not something that is like I'm running from a tiger. It teaches your heart to rest at a lower rate. And then when a response actually comes, your heart will respond appropriately. That is part of heart health. We use a measure called heart rate variability. And that's something that I like to measure with my clients, because it tells us how well your heart responds from beat to beat to various like stimulus. So we want our heart rate variability to be very good, very responsive, and not just reactive, so that's basically all I wanted to share today. I'd love for us to do a quick meditation, a heart sync meditation, one of my favorites, that you can do just for a few minutes. So get into a comfortable position, feet flat on the floor, or you can sit crisscross and connect, your bottom and your legs to the floor to kind of facilitate a more grounded feeling. But sitting in a chair is perfectly fine with your feet flat on the floor. And I want you just to take some comfortable breaths in and out. I want you to bring your attention to your feet. I want you to tense them up and then relax them. I want you to bring your attention to your knees and imagine relaxing legs and knees. Giving yourself permission to just carve this little space out for you. There's no need to hold on to anything. Settle into your seat. Bring your attention to your hips. Relax your muscles. Come up to your shoulders. Shrug your shoulders, tight, 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 and then just gently relax them. And then come up. So I want you to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your eyes, squint, 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 and then just relax them. Giving yourself permission in this moment just to totally relax your face. Let go. You're safe. Now I want you to just make your breaths nice and even. If it helps to take your finger, you need to count in, out, in, out, in, out. So you can use your hands to sort of count and keep track. After a while, just settle into that rhythm. Place your hands back down. I want you now to connect with your heart. Imagine at the center of your chest, there's a light representing your heart, the energy of your heart, the power of your heart. And I want you to imagine with each breath, that light and that force growing stronger, more vibrant. Imagine it extending beyond your chest, creating a field. And I want you to bring and fill that space with the feeling of gratitude. There's an ease in gratitude. Bring the energy of comfort, appreciation, and acceptance. It's okay if you might have some thoughts going around and swirling around. Bring your attention back to your heart field, your heart center, and your connectedness to it. It's who you are. There's nothing that you have to do to connect. There's nothing that you have to do with your thoughts. Just bring your attention back to your heart and connect with the feeling of gratitude. And relax your body into that gratitude. And when you're ready, I want you to slowly open your eyes. Take a few blinks to acclimate yourself back to your surroundings. Take a big breath if you like and exhale. And I just want to encourage you to use that technique whenever you want. You can make it as short or as long as you like. But once you start to regularly use that practice, you'll just see the transformation that happens in your body, in your mind, your decision making, your relationships. Everything will have a sense of vitality when you connect with your heart. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the Nurture Cure retreat. I want to encourage all of you to take the time to nurture yourself. It is truly the cure to addressing all types of physical, mental, social needs. So definitely, if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one session, you can go to mindfulmochamama.com and schedule a one-on-one session. I'll be glad to help you to come up with some specialized, personalized approaches, given your particular, situation and special needs. And just be on the lookout. I'm going to be creating some courses in specific health areas that we need to make sure that we get right. The next one that will be released is called Sleep Yourself Well, and it's about promoting healthy sleep habits, correcting any sleep disturbances, and learning how to evaluate how efficient your sleep is and how restorative it is. And just seeing how that changes your mood, regulates your appetite, helps you connect to people deeper when you're rested. So look out for that course coming soon. Thank you again. I'll see you guys next time.